Why do we idealize having a final stand? The unnamed Norwegian barbarian at the Battle of Stamford Bridge. He held off an army of thousands while single-handedly killing 40 men. Benkei, a massive warrior monk, held the castle bridge of Koromonogawa no Tate from invading army, killing over 300 men. These are two famous stories from history that people often idealize and fantasize about. I fully understand the appeal, but let me remind you, these men died. The man on Stamford Bridge died when one of the English soldiers floated underneath him in a barrel and speared him through the wooden floorboards. Minamoto no Yoritomo's forces realized that fighting Benkei in close quarters would lead to their deaths, so they shot him with a volley of arrows. Riddled with arrows and covered with wounds, the soldiers came closer as Benkei remained standing. Upon closer inspection, Benkei fell to the earth. The soldiers realized that he had died standing upright. These men refused to surrender. They chose to face impossible odds. With their backs against the wall, both men refused to back down. Ultimately, though, fighting these battles led to their deaths. And they both knew it would end up that way. But they didn't die without fulfilling their goal. The Norwegian Viking gave enough time for his fellow Nords to set up a defensive formation. Benkei gave enough time for his lord to commit seppuku. The final stand gives us many thoughts and feelings we can associate to it. An impending doom that cannot be stopped, but we fight against it regardless. People from these stories radiated with great bravery, sheer will, determination, defiance, refusal to back down, and sacrificed everything fighting to the bitter end. We all infer this based on their actions despite them having no recorded words. These people who stood their ground, refused to throw in the towel and quit, exemplify the human spirit and what it means to be a human to its fullest. We look upon them and hope that if there were something we believed in, something we couldn't give up, where we chose to push back against fate, in that situation we would make the same choice. To make the ultimate sacrifice, commit to a mission that will lead to our deaths, going out in a supposed blaze of glory. Because having a last stand is to choose suicide on your terms. But in their final moments, the people and tools they use burn to a blinding radiance. To deny the beauty that I see in it would mean to deny the valiance these souls radiated. And no final stand looks more beautiful to me than that of the Gundam Barbatos Lupus Rex. After being heavily damaged in his battle with Hashmal, Barbatos Lupus was sent to Teiwaz for a further upgrade. Using the combat data obtained from the fight with Hashmal, the Lupus Rex was built with bigger arms and had nail claws to match its pilot Mikazuki August's fighting style. Hashmal's tail parts being implanted onto the Gundam's back was the most notable addition. The Alaya-Vijnana system allowed Mikazuki to use it no differently to his other limbs. Gundam Barbatos Lupus Rex is truly stunning. A machine of war designed for overwhelming speed and power. One whose bare hands are even deadly weapons. The tail blade differentiates it from every other Gundam in not just this series but all media, since there isn't anything else quite like it. Not being bloodthirsty despite the sheer brutality of its fighting style feels refreshing, as usually they go hand in hand. But as you may know, this isn't my favorite version of this Gundam. The clean out of the shop look doesn't compare anything to the moment it went all out with everything it had left. After the failed coup and being forced to retreat back to Mars, Gjallarhorn encircled them with a force several times their size. Their only means of escape was the tunnels being dug out to the city beneath the Tekkadan base. Explosives were planted to collapse the tunnel and destroy the base to keep Gjallarhorn from finding out that they had escaped. Their Barbatos Lupus Rex fought an endless onslaught of mobile suits since noon that day. But thanks to his skill, power, and determination of the members of Tekkadan, they had bought enough time for the tunnels to be cleared and most of the members to escape. But for Mikazuki August and Akihiro Altland, the pilot of Gundam Gushan Rebake Full City, there was no backing down. Akihiro refused to leave Mika, and Mika refused to leave the battlefield. Both mobile suits were pristine, being such a force on the battlefield that they were almost untouchable. Had the fighting continued, there was a good chance Gundam Barbatos and Gushan could have wiped out the entire Gjallarhorn force deployed to face them. But this wouldn't be a last stand or an underdog tale were it so easy. Rustal Elion, the Arianrod Fleet Supreme Commander, declared that any person that could overcome a mobile armor single-handedly could hardly be called human anymore. Ironic, since the Gundam Marcosius during the Calamity War defeated 2 mobile armors single-handedly, and it was piloted by a member of Family House Baklazan, one of the 7 ruling members of Gjallarhorn. But let's take a second and put yourself in Rustal's shoes for a moment. If the battle continued, the Gjallarhorn forces were going to be wiped out by just 2 mobile suits, one of which is known as the Devil of Mars, who successfully defeated a mobile armor in single combat. He really didn't have any other choice, as he didn't want to continue the conflict any longer, so he used his trump card, the Dynslave. A Calamity War-era weapon made illegal due to its power and sheer destructive force. A railgun that fired bullets that could penetrate even the nanolaminate armor of mobile suits, meant to kill mobile armors. Anyone that knows about Project Thor from the United States knows that the tungsten rods fired from space would have the impact force of a low-yield nuclear bomb, with the upside of not producing any nuclear fallout. So, knowing how powerful a Dynslave Ket bullet fired from space would be, how many of you think Rustle would fire to defeat just 2 mobile suits? 1? 2 to be sure? 3 is pushing it? 6. He fired 6 to kill them, each hitting with a kinetic orbital bombardment force of a nuclear bomb. The explosion leveled the entire Tekkadan base, leaving only rubble in a crater of where they had been battling. And this still wasn't enough. Imagine being hit with the equivalence to a nuclear bomb. You wake up in horrible pain. It's dark, your mobile suit has been buried under rubble, your body's embedded with shrapnel from the explosion. You are bleeding out slowly, and you've already succeeded in your goal. Would you lay there and slowly die in the darkness? Or would you do what Mikazuki and Akihiro did, following Orga's final orders to the very end? To live until you die. Don't stop. As long as you don't stop, I'll be at the end waiting for you. Barbatos Lupus Rex emerges from the rubble, its tailblade moving in hunger for a target. Gushion Rebake Full City lifts itself up while removing one of the Ket bullets that had hit it directly from its chassis. Gjallarhorn soldiers, upon witnessing them rise from the dirt, called them real devils. And to be honest, I'd feel the same way after seeing 2 enemies duoing my entire platoon, while winning, get nuked and still get back up to continue fighting. Then we get to my favorite scene in all of Gundam. The Barbatos Lupus Rex lost its left arm from the explosion along with all of its weaponry. Its crown is damaged and electricity is sparking all over its body. Mikazuki asks Barbatos if it also doesn't want to stop yet, to which Barbatos gives Mikazuki the full power of the Alaya-Vijnana system. Its eyes turned red, sparking as if they were filled with lightning. The chest vents heat and steam as if exhaling, along with a wolf howl, its tailblade humming in anticipation of prey. Barbatos is beaten and badly damaged, but he isn't the one that should be afraid. Licking the blood from his face, Mikazuki goes berserk. Barbatos Lupus Rex leapt full force towards the remaining Gjallarhorn mobile suits, a predator on the verge of death. Close to its last breath. Gjallarhorn mobile suit pilots can barely react to the sheer speed, ferocity, and brutality the Lupus Rex suddenly exudes upon the battlefield, immediately killing 5 mobile suits with a combination of tailblade, claws, and stealing the opponent's own weapons to use against them. In desperation, the Gjallarhorn pilot successfully impaled the Barbatos with 3 axes. Mikazuki's on a time limit here. Will he pull out the axes embedded in his chest? Nope. He removes 2 out of the 3 axes from his chest by attacking them with his own tailblade. It's so badass, so ridiculous, and so peak. And this is it for me. The axe in his chest with a damaged body while using his own weapon to remove the axes faster rather than pulling them out. This is my favorite moment that is forever burned into my mind. This is the battle-damaged look that I prefer over the pristine version. And right after it, he leaps into the air and proceeds to kill 5 more enemy pilots with just his tailblade, 3 of which were probably the ones that threw their axes into him. The only reason Mikazuki's kill count doesn't skyrocket from here is because Julieta finally catches up and somewhat holds Mika back. I say somewhat because she lets him slip past for one moment, to which he immediately kills the 3 mobile suits that try to back up Julieta in her EBOA JJC Regan Lays Julia. Making one last-ditch attack on Julieta, Barbatos' cockpit hatch was ripped off, revealing the unconscious Mikazuki, and so Barbatos fell onto Julieta's Regan Lays. We call them underdogs for a reason. We cheer for them to win because the scales are heavily tipped against their favor, which makes it all the more amazing when they win despite the odds. But it wouldn't even be half as amazing if they won all the time, and that's why 99% of the time the odds are correct and they lose. The Devil of Mars, defeated and beheaded by the saintly, gallant female knight Julieta of Gjallarhorn. But there were never any devils. They were more human than anyone else, where they could only express themselves fighting on a battlefield, at the end fighting without cause or purpose. They chose to keep resisting uselessly in the face of certain death because of their human desire to follow their friend's final order to the very end. It doesn't elude me that we should not idealize Mikazuki in this moment. This final stand, rather than escaping, meant that Mikazuki never survived to watch his child grow up. He and Akihiro were child soldiers, Mika barely being 17 at the time of his death. But that doesn't change the fact that this is my favorite moment in all media. The battle-damaged mech, the reason and meaning for the fight, and getting to see Barbatos go all out cements the Gundam Barbatos Lupus Rex as my favorite Gundam. So let us all remember and share the tale of the bearded king of wolves, who gave his life to ensure the safety of his pack of stray dogs. Tekkadan lives on within each and every surviving member. Also, shout out to our boy Akihiro for crushing the biggest, bitchiest bastard of the entire series into pulp. And Gundam Gusion Rebake Full City also looked beautiful in its battle-damaged state. Thanks for watching and listening to me ramble on. Gundam Barbatos Lupus Rex really is my favorite Gundam. Feel free to comment your favorite Gundam, Last Stand, or Underdog story down below. Subscribe for more content like this. Oh, and if this video gets, let's say, 15 likes, I'll make my next video on Gundam Exia. Thanks to my only supporter, Matthias 2-C.